streaming start.
Okay.
Let's hope.
Yep, we're good.
I think I advertised this.
Wow, feels like a longer delay.
What?
Delay feels longer than usual.
No, I don't. No. Okay, no. No, I don't think it's a... Say... Hi! Ed's here.
Hey Ed, how you doing?
Hi.
Been a minute. We're a little early. Thank you, Terry.
Oh,
well, you can hear me probably.
let's hope these microphones don't go.
Well, it was better than the camera going.
Hi, Matt. How are you? Hi, Terry. Sounds like a law firm, these three guys. Webster, Weiner, and McFarland.
I'd hire them.
I hope we're saying your last name right. Sorry. Weiner. Webster, Weiner, and McFarland. The law attorneys you can trust. I love that. Hey, guys. Thank you. Yeah, that's good, Ed.
Hey, John.
John, hello. We are, you're on our slate. Oh, not Slater. You're on our slate. I'm a little crazy here right now, so. LLC, you got it.
Hey, Scott, new to the chat, but not to the stream.
Well, thanks for watching, Scott, and thank you for contributing. You know, we have a big section here called Q&A. All right, so.
Yeah, so you guys, if you have questions, we're gonna, if you want to ask them during, that's fine. But we will do like a session of Q&A.
Yeah.
So we don't have to keep scrolling. But if you do have a question and you don't want to forget it, you're more than welcome to do it whenever.
We've got this big TV here in front of us, and that's, hi Hugh, how are you? I assume that's Hugh Doyle, Hugh Rohde. Sorry if I used your last name, that's okay. But it's got to be Hugh.
I mean, it is. Yeah. It's definitely Hugh.
It's got to be Hugh. So we have you on the slate, John. I know. Hi, John. John Epp, we have you on the slate. John Dugan, hello. Thank you for your smiles. Good. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Yes, thank you. Because you said hello in the other video from yesterday, I think, and I said that just as. Oh, my God. Oh.
As always, welcome, Ken.
Oh, Mr. Mello. Yeah. Should we be playing like Highway to the Danger Zone? The
boys are back in, right?
Oh, Kenny Loggins?
I don't know who sings that. That's just the thing I thought of.
The boys are back in town? That might be, oh, geez. Thin Lizzy? I don't know. I don't know.
Thin Lizzy?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's now 2000
hours.
Yes, in stereo for you. So it's been a while. Listen, things have been crazy. Steven's working on a project that's taken him out of the Buffalo area a couple of times and things like that, and just for work and a vacation. This guy takes vacations a lot. Cash, go to bed. But yeah, and then we're overwhelmed still. All right, so the Sullivans is refloated. All right, but that doesn't mean she's out of the woods, and we are still doing a lot of meetings, a lot of staff trainings. We just really haven't had the time to coordinate, this sort of thing.
Yeah, it's been a rough last month or so.
In addition to that.
And we were a little burnt, so I think taking a break and reorganizing and coming back, I think okay.
I wasn't burnt.
We were all a little burnt.
Yeah. Okay, we were a little burnt. Playing with the Boys by Kenny Loggins. You know what? I don't know that song, Ken. I don't know.
Should we play out to that tonight?
if you can find it.
Yeah, we'll find it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Matt,
right,
so-
Matt. Yep, that's very true.
And then we had our encampment season.
Okay, yeah.
The overnight encampments, if you're not familiar with it, we have Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, I mean, even families, a dad and 2 kids came, you know. They could sign up. We have activities for them, educational portions, which our theme was Navajo code talking during World War II.
Very nice.
And so, yeah, they sleep on board the Little Rock, and it's a whole thing. So we just finished that last week. June 11th was the last day of that.
For the spring.
For the spring. So the fall encampments will start again in September, and we'll do it all over again. Yeah, and if you have kids or a Boy Scout or Girl Scout troop or anything, and you're interested in sleeping on the Little Rock and joining these activities, you can go to our website, and we have a overnight encampment section, and you just click on that and find out all the information.
Excellent. Yeah, that's great. So we'll kind of just jump right in. We've got about 1, 2. Well, you covered encampments. Do you want to talk more about encampments, or?
No, I'll just mention the 4th of July weekend, the thing we're doing too.
Oh God! Oh boy!
4th of July we're doing this. It's a kids event.
Yeah.
Right. They're gonna come in. They're gonna learn about the Declaration of Independence. They're gonna there'll be like trivia, activities, projects they're making. We're gonna have a special appearance by our founding father, George Washington, played by none other than Shane Stevenson, which I'm so excited about.
I'll have to say I've shrunk in my old age because he was what?
6'2".
Yeah, and I'm like 5'8.9" or something. Mm-hmm. So I've shrunk in my old age, as sometimes people do.
You have like a prestigious face, though. You could pull off George Washington.
Oh, great. Can I be John Adams, a little more cantankerous?
Speaking of John Adams, I just started a new book, a new biography, John Quincy Adams.
Oh, John Quincy.
It's called The Lost Founding Father, and it is very good so far.
Interesting.
It starts off, I'm only like a little bit through, but it starts off in his childhood, which I always love reading these biographies because he was a child during the Revolutionary War. So while his dad was a main part of the Revolutionary War and going to Paris and all that.
Oh yeah, his dad was the founding father.
Right.
To me.
So, to many, you know, I still haven't watched that show on HBO yet, though. I got to watch that.
Yeah, please.
But yeah, it talks about his life as a kid during the Revolutionary War, which was different to the last biography I read, which is Ben Franklin, who, while his kid, you know, to talk about him as a kid, you know, he was an adult, an old man, if you will, during the Revolutionary War. So this is, it's a different shift on it. I like it.
Good.
He really is like a forgotten president.
Yeah, he is part of the last of the Adams dynasty. He also visited Buffalo. That's getting into the presidential stuff that so he came to Buffalo and like
Buffalo's got a history with presidents.
It does.
Especially McKinley.
Certainly. We don't need to go there, but yeah, that's true. That will be our next exhibit.
Did you know that McKinley was infamously known for not wanting like security around him?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I knew that. Ben around the world. Hola! From you know where, Ben? The meeting space up on the second floor of the museum. Ben around the world, everyone, if you see him, his handle, right? He was a longtime employee here, and he's following his dream, and he started a YouTube channel, and he goes around the world. I think he's mostly been in Central America, and he does travel videos. You know, he stays at a place, a bed and breakfast, or an apartment, and he talks about the pros and cons and how much things cost and things like that. So Ben around the world, fabulous to see you again. Everyone always says, oh, we've got brave Shane fitting down a hole, and that's a direct quote right from Ben. So in that one video that we did. Ben, it's so nice to see you. Thanks for being here, and hello from Mexico.
Hi, Ben. I've never met Ben, but I've heard only good things.
Yeah,
I actually
absolutely.
took Ben's position when I first started here.
Yes.
And now it's vacant again.
Not really.
Kinda.
Yeah, Brendan, but yeah, I mean, he's...
Does anyone want a caretaker job?
Thank you. Okay, so thank you, Ben. Ben, hi, nice to see you again. Ben around the world. Okay, that's great. Ben around the world.
That's
I like that.
That's the point.
So Sullivan's updates. Okay, everyone. So she is refloated, as you know. If you've watched that video of the 4-foot, the first link in the chain video. I expected that to spark some conversation, and it has, but not as much as I expected. So it was very clear that if you've watched that video, there was a seiche, and we've had seiches all, fairly recently.
It's very common in the Buffalo River.
But not as much as it is lately.
Right.
We have the seawall back there on the other side of the Buffalo River that, you can see the water rise if you slow it down. Stephen did the editing for that. So if you kind of go frame by frame, you could really see, and even the Little Rock rise. And so our first thought was that she tapped the bottom, she crinkled a little bit on starboard at some point throughout that Wednesday or Thursday, and that does not appear to be the case. So TNT Salvage and Bidco said they do not see anything that would look like crinkling or crumpling of the strakes. Sorry, guys. I'm working on my, what is it now? I don't know. 16th day out of 17 days, or 15 out of 16. So it doesn't look like there's anything in the strakes, that showed that. But they were also very clear that changes in water pressure, and if we had that series of 15 holes over the 4 feet, that could pop those little strands that are, what is the word? Breaking the hole, forming the holes, and then you can break that little strand, and then it becomes 2 holes, and then 3 holes, one big.
Right.
So I don't know.
So when there's like a bunch of holes next to each other, eventually they will just merge into each other and create a bigger hole.
Yeah, and so that has to be kind of what we see as one of the major incursions that night, or potentially that morning when that seiche hit. Is about an hour or so before, and again, you're bringing that much water on. So we'd like to throw out to Drek Innefel. Drek Innefel was here. We did that impromptu live from the aft engine room. So if you've caught that was about 20 minutes long. Can't thank them enough. The Alexes, Gareth, and the other guys and the crew that were here, they really got the word out and helped with that. And then, of course, Drek Innefel was climbing all over the Sullivans, and I had to keep one eye on him as I was talking to other people and things like that, because we were worried he'd climb up the mainmast there, the tripod mast. But he did not. So we'd like to throw out a really serious thank you to them. It was a very impromptu visit. Some people in Buffalo said, "Oh, I wish we would have known."
Yeah, it was. I think he had labeled it as his Canadian tour, right? Like his Canadian 2022 tour. So I mean, for those of you not in the area, we're still. I mean, you could see Canada from out that window. So I mean, it was very nice of him to come down to Buffalo.
Absolutely.
It was pretty cool.
It was
definitely
cool.
Nice meeting that whole crew, and
and they're great guys. And I told them then now I don't have to watch my typical episode of Downton Abbey because I had enough British that day. It was great. British or Canadian.
Welcome aboard, William. Just wanted to.
Yes.
And yes,
permission granted.
Perforated, I believe, would be the correct.
Thank you.
He's always saving us.
Ken?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, perforated. Yeah, so perforated. So you've watched that video, the inside. I also have a couple videos debuting of me cleaning the switchboard and the main power panel. Those should be coming up over the next couple of days. Listen, they're continuing to work on the 2-part epoxy. They have also on port, all right, they have cemented a very large area like they did in that first link in the chain. It's longer than 4 feet, but that's another perforation on port that they took care of a couple of weeks ago. And right now they're doing some internal surveys because we are looking at options and we're really trying to speed up that dry dock timeline. Bidco has come back to us and said, hey, we might be able to cofferdam with one of those, just a 7-foot cofferdam or a full cofferdam where they would just, for that 7 foot, put it in there, drain out the water, then work while the ship is here. So we're trying to get this naval survey done of the ship, a more updated naval survey of the ship done by an architect, and then we could see where we go into the future. I'd like to say that she's kind of in ICU right now. She's out of her surgery, but she's still in ICU. All right, there's still touch and go here.
Now, would you say she's in better condition just because of like what was able to be done while she was, during the whole Sullivan incident? Would you say that she's in better condition than she was before the sinking?
Yes. I would absolutely say that. With 58 holes, they did pump out again in 2008. We were told that the fuel oil tanks, the residual oil, was stung out of the tanks. And then here we are 14 years later, and they pump out 40,000 gallons of fuel oil, all right, which at least the work in 2008 said that they had gotten most of that and they had stung the certain tanks. Now our records show that they were doing it in the aft section, but you move forward, there's fuel oil all the way, pretty much the whole length of the ship up until the mess decks, I believe. So there's that conversation of, do we go back to this company, that sort of thing, what happened in 2008, 2009. But yeah, so they stung all of it, so the center of gravity is much higher now, and so that's a big concern with some of our viewers and ourselves, of course, as well as when we get into the windy season, say the fall, with that higher center of gravity, or CG, she might really be moving during those high wind incidents and things like that. So Bidco's continuing to work. They're using the two-part epoxy. Temporary power has been restored to most of the ship. So we've got the dehumidifiers going again. We've got air blowers going again. We've got lights down there. So we're kind of getting ready for volunteers. We were told, though, that we have to look into the paint situation for scraping the paint off, because we might need that abated with some lead. So that's something that we have to take into consideration, and so we'll see about the testing of that, and if we get some tested as well. I believe Miller Environmental has tested some lead, so we might have access to those records. So if Carmen's on from Miller Environmental, if he wants to pipe up with that. So we're looking at still 14, 18 months down the road before she will be ready to be toured, probably. But
we do have a couple questions coming in, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah, I'm talking a lot. Go ahead.
Hit those. How bad is the switchgear?
William, thank you. I'm sorry. I don't know what you mean by the switchgear.
All right, we'll come back to that.
Yeah, please come back to. Please explain. I've never used that term aboard, so.
So let's jump ahead. How deep was the flooding in the fire rooms and engine rooms? Do you know how deep it was?
Oh, that's another question from William. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Probably 20 feet. All right, so that started in the keel, past the boilers, past the lower platform where you light the boilers off, past the upper platform, and almost to the overhead. So 20, 24 feet. So
all right, one more from William. Was the fuel left aboard intended as ballast?
I cannot answer that. Again, we said that, back in 2008 there was a company, I don't know the name of the company, but they said they had stung most of the tanks. And then to still have 40,000 on. We have been shifting water, into the center line. I think we just Bidco just put into the 3" 50 magazine, the handling magazine. They filled that, and that's right on the center line, so they filled that with some river water just to keep the ballast. So, because taking off all that weight, the CG goes up, and so I think we are trying to counterballast things. Certainly the transom will be, as of right now, that's flooded, and if you've watched that video, as I'm sure many of you have, why do we flood the transom? Well, we don't want that anymore, so they're going to patch those holes. They're going to remove the water. We're going to look at those transverse bulkheads because water's been in there for literally 20 years. It was 2002 when they put water in there. And so Hugh Doyle, or Hugh Rohde, who's commented here, we want to make sure that transverse bulkheads didn't break down in any way at the decking or the overhead, so we're going to get that cleared out, and then they're going to put something called permaballast, which is like a muddy type solution into those spaces in the chemical warfare locker. So those hopefully answering those, William. Thank you.
All right, speaking of Hugh, he does have a question. Was it 40,000 gallons of fuel oil or 40,000 gallons of oily waste?
Hugh, thank you for the question. I think it was 40,000 gallons of the residual fuel. In total, they took off about 1 million gallons. That includes fresh river water and oily wastewater, is that 1 million. But if I'm getting the numbers right, if I'm interpreting the numbers right from a meeting we had a week and a half ago, it was 40,000 gallons of just straight fuel oil that, were sitting in various tanks. Some of it, obviously, a lot of it got out into the ship itself, but they pumped it back into the fuel tank, and then they pumped it out into the, the frac tanks that were out here. So,
Ken asks, in a recent video, you mentioned it was getting warm in the ship. How warm is warm?
When it is, we're getting to the point where it will be 80, 85 and humid. And certainly by mid-July, it's going to be toasty down there.
So when we did the first encampment we did, which is actually early May, we took a reading in the seaplane hangar, and it was 91 degrees.
No.
Yeah.
We did have that one hot week where it was like 90 degrees for like
it was 86 outside that day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. That's a great thing. Do you guys do that for the encampments?
Well, it was just so hot in there that day because we didn't have the vent on because it's so noisy. I mean, you could just stand still and you were just like,
wow. But
it's been fine ever since. So
yeah. Okay. But yeah, that gives you a great example, and that's on the Little Rock. Spaces are much larger. The overheads are higher. Yeah, I mean, it will get 90 degrees in there and humid. So that's why it's imperative to have the power back to get the dehumidifiers in there and stuff.
Which you talk about in the newest video that you posted last night, right? The dehumidifiers.
Yeah, that we're getting those, and power has been secured. Temporary power, which might even mean a whole year of temporary power. The transformers, the distribution panels, things like that.
So let's go back to that original question. From William, the switchboards.
Got it. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's funny. I've never heard it called that. The main So the question was, how are the main switchboards doing? How is this?
I can go back. Hold on a second.
Okay. So those. Yeah, William.
How bad is the switchboard?
Okay, so the main switchboard is in the aft fire room. That's where the power came from the shore, and then the bus tie tied it to the forward panel. Completely submerged in oily water. We covered it with that heavy-duty plastic stuff. Miller Environmental cleaned that whole area, and again, if you watch the direct NFL, you see a little bit of how clean it is in there. I am not wearing Tyvek suits anymore, so that's good. I still get a little on me, but not much. So, I mean, just imagine the whole panel was submerged in oily water for 2 weeks. So we have to drain everything out, and in those videos of the switchboard that will be released over the next couple of days, I have part 1 and part 2, show the very surface work that I'm doing because, well, you'll hear me talk about it in the videos, of why I was kind of focusing on those. I did not get inside the panels. I don't know what to do inside the panels for cleaning, but you'll see those and they're pretty short. One's 5 minutes, I think one's 7 minutes. So they're pretty short, and you'll get more of an update there. But the main feed from the shore was totally submerged. That main connector wire was totally submerged. So
we do have a fun little fact from Ed.
Hi, Ed.
If I remember correctly, 1 gallon of oil will contaminate 750,000 gallons of water.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's I had never heard that stat, but if that's true, if anyone wants to comment on that,
I mean, that sounds like it could,
it could, absolutely.
Right. If you think about even just dropping a tiny bit of contaminant into a glass of water, do you know what I mean? Does the ship smell different now? That's a good question. I haven't been down below. We've only been on the main deck.
Yes. It's odd. It's an odd smell. I've spent a lot of time down below, and it still, of course, has that diesel oil smell that you'd expect of any ship, that I go home every night and smell like it. And
your car smells like it, too.
Yes. My Jetson mobile?
I love your car.
Okay, good.
He's got a fantastic car.
Thank you. Yeah. It's just a Jetta, guys.
It's an R-line.
It's an R-line Jetta. Okay,
and it's a stick shift.
It's a stick shift. I don't drive automatic. So there's my switch gear, my stick shift. Right?
Yeah.
Well, now I lost it. The smell. But then there's odd places where it smells like the cleanser or the cleaner. So the air quality is very good. It never really got into dangerous areas, in terms of parts per billion or parts per million. But we always still wore air quality monitors for a very long time going down below. But now we can go down by ourselves. We don't need a team of people. We don't need harnesses anymore. So I've been cataloging. I've been doing the switchboard. So we got to get the breakers out of there, the bus breaker, the regular breakers. So it's going to be a long process. And bringing power back, because she's a National Historic Landmark, bringing it through the original power panels is my goal. So that's what I will push for. But
so William says, have flooding sensors been considered for installation?
Yes, they have. Thank you, William. That's part of the policy and plan moving forward. I started in 2018. There were flood alarms. There were flood alarms in the 80s and 90s. I cannot explain why those weren't continued. So that's what I have to say about that. But there were flooding alarms in the 80s and 90s. And then sometime in 96, 97, I don't know if something changed in the policy or, of the naval park, but that's where it went from there. So certainly, and they're going to place the original talk was about 30 different pumps or 30 pumps in strategic areas around the Sullivans too. We usually had 5 or 6 going at any given time, but with 30, that will really address any serious incursions. Same old smell. You got it, Hugh. You were down there. Same old smell. Thank you. Wow. William, isn't that funny? Someone else made that comment on the first link in the chain video. yes, we understand that. I don't know if the board would, that would be a 365-day-a-year job, 16 hours a day probably, that might blow our payroll. And if you look at some of the comments, I talked to someone about that same thing, and he broke it down into great detail how much it would cost a year for this person. But yeah, I don't know if we'd get board approval for someone like that. So just a few more minutes, and then we have other things to cover here.
Yeah, so I just want to, Ken brings up a good point too. Based on your last video, the 4-foot gash resulted in 3,000 gallons of water per minute. Even if we did have flood alarms, there's really not much we could have done, right? Like if the water's coming in that fast.
Absolutely. I mean, 3,000 gallons a minute is 180,000 gallons an hour.
Right.
Right. And so that's in my head, again, Shane's head, that's what made, I think, that sudden shift. When you bring that much water on, if we've got, breaks in the transverse bulkheads, which we have had, because there were lines going through there that were cut and things going from the fire rooms to the engine rooms and vice versa. Now you're flooding all of those 4 spaces with 25 feet of water in a very short period of time.
Right. And if you watch,
there's nothing that we could have done after it turns into the Titanic. And at some point, the crew that's here could not have prevented anything.
And if you watch the first link video from last night, we have the footage. It's sped up, but you can see how fast, and especially in that last hour before she goes completely under, how fast she went down.
Yeah, and that's with the Seiche as well. So maybe that's what's breaking those, the perforating the hull and things like that. So it's William. Well, William, thank you for being so active. I like that. I do. Mid-rats could be included, yes, sir. No problem. That would probably just be a sandwich or something, but, maybe we'll see if we can get someone to cook something for you good in the galley. Because our galley on Little Rock does work. Our ovens.
It does.
And our
Encampments, we
griddles.
had shout out to the Grotto who catered our
Oh,
encampments.
yeah. I heard it turned out good.
The food was fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, why don't we move on?
Okay, thanks everybody, and again, please feel free to ask questions. Artifacts, all right, so Brendan, if you filled out that form, I'm hopeful that you got the email from Brendan talking about our timeline for artifacts. So the artifacts that we've pulled off board are mostly from midship aft. The stuff, we will be going down there to gather more of the artifacts that were from midships forward, but those were never in any danger, and so we have not removed them yet because that takes a daisy chain, and all the staff is working in other areas and the crew's working in other areas. So if you haven't gone to our website, you can go to support us, and then there's a volunteer section and there's a form to fill out that will eventually get to our caretaker of the Little Rock, Brendan, who's also our volunteer coordinator. But he sent out an email recently saying, hey, you want to help preserve the artifacts that have already been pulled off. This is how to do it. This is when the time is. So that's going to be, we're looking to do a training. I know many of you work, and that's good. And July 11th, we're looking to set up a mini training with the conservator that I'm working with, Gabriel Dunn.
Maybe we can film the training and put it on our YouTube as well.
This guy, he's always thinking. He's our AV guy.
I'm not.
Or stage crew. Do you remember that from high school? Are you part of the stage crew? You can't be like singing, but you're like the person that cuts the set.
I've been nominated as our IT guy, but I'm not very good at it.
Yes.
I think I'm the youngest person on the staff.
Well, you might be the youngest person in this building.
Right. Well, on the management staff.
Oh, yeah.
Because because I'm the youngest, I get stuck with how do I fix this? I'm like, I don't know.
Right, yeah, he does kind of get stuck with it. But for the artifacts, you're interested, preserving them, conserving them, So that's the plan, July 11th. You have to respond because there are certain restrictions. You're going to have to wear respirators, probably, obviously, nitrile gloves, work in the tight spaces of the Little Rock, things like that. So, but we'd love to have you aboard. So there's that, right? Stage crew.
Oh man, John's trashing my hat now.
John who?
John Epp.
Oh, hello, John. You're on our list as well.
He's from Albany, right? So he's probably a Yankees fan.
Why don't you ask him? He could be a Boston fan. Albany and Boston's not far away.
That is true. They're not far away.
Yeah.
Right down the old 90.
Or like the New Hampshire Owls or something like that, if there's a team from Double A. Or single A? Okay. John. Well, thank you, John. It was nice to, and everyone, if you remember, we were going to have John Epp, from the curator from the Slater. Check out their channel. They're always uploading great videos. Their newsletter's great as well. Slater Signals, I believe it's called. Get involved with them. It's fabulous. We've worked with Barry, who's, one in a million. And we're going to have John Epp back on soon on our live session. We just haven't been able to do it, but looking for an engaging conversation with John. John, I hope you are. Oh, Mets are, of course. Oh, he is a Yankees fan.
I know.
Mets are my number 2. 1962 for number 2, right?
1962 is the year they formed, yeah. Let's see, Vegan, welcome.
Hi, Vegan Conservative, how are you? Hey.
Back again.
Nice to see you.
Let's see, William has another quick question. Could you use the locker that was in the oil lab of the USS Lynn McCormick? Is then as served aboard condition?
Sure. Yeah, William, that would be, it's funny, our oil lab, we have our oil lab on the Little Rock. It's off the tour route, but I sometimes, on the curator tours, I sometimes show it, and I walk people by and I discuss what it was and things like that, and the caretaker, or the sup ships, probably in say 2000 to 2012 was the oil king on the USS Little Rock itself. So he's very proud of that space. He was always mad that it wasn't on the tour route. But yeah, I think that would be pretty cool to have. We could put it on the Sullivans. If you're literally saying I have a locker, so that would be, if you want to donate it, sure.
Yeah, so we're going to get John on as long as he still wants to be on. I think it'll be fantastic. Yeah. It'll be nice to have a conversation with him, in person, or virtually in person. Yeah, that's true. I'm going to take a sip of my Mountain Holler. You don't have to put tape over that one. They want you to promote that.
Mountain Holler, everyone. This is...
That's like a thing, right? Like a holler. There's like a section of in the Appalachian Mountains, a holler.
Is it really?
It's where you all live in the same area, and it's called a holler.
I did not know that.
You could just walk out the door and holler for some... I'm not even lying.
Okay.
I'm going to look it up.
You do sometimes, but this time not. History X, what's an oil lab? All right, so the oil labs on board was where they tested the purity of the oil before it would be used in the boiler system or in the fire rooms. Obviously, you have to make sure it reaches a certain pure standard so it doesn't muck up anything. So they would test, they'd have little samples, and they'd test the oil before it was used to light off and things like that. So I'm sure William, can expound on that for you, but.
Yeah, okay, so John Barradale, and this is what I'm seeing right here. A person once told me that a holler is an Appalachian derivation of hollow, land between two mountains where people generally live. That, or the word could also mean the easiest way to communicate from one side of the hollow to another, to holler. So thank you, John, for that. And yeah, that was the definition from out of somewhere.
That's appreciated. Yeah, that's nice.
See, we learn something new every day.
Woo! Okay, so one last thing that I have on my official list, and then we can get back to whatever you guys want, if any updates. I did post a video about Chip Nalon. He wrote a book called The New Ministry of Truth that is on our YouTube channel. It's a fabulous talk. He was an officer, graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy, an officer for about 9 years, and what he was was embedded with a battalion from the country of Georgia during the Afghan War, and this was kind of, Georgia wanted to be accepted into NATO. And so they did this goodwill gesture of offering a battalion of infantry to the fight in Afghanistan. And so he was there, he and about 11 other guys were they're training officers, things like that. So, and then he wrote a book about his experience and lessons that he learned in his time in Afghanistan. It's really engaging. Can't thank Chip enough for coming here. It was a Friday night at 5 p.m. Not the best time to have a speaker series, but we had about 15 people, so that was really nice, and about 180 people have watched it online. So if you haven't caught that, and that's something that interests you, it's really lessons not just for the military, but also like life lessons and leadership lessons and things like that. So that was really enjoyable.
Ken says that your notes look like they're written on an old gas station receipt. This is not a napkin.
Arco.
John, Georgia, the country. Yes.
Yes, Georgia. Thank you, John. Georgia, the country.
Ministry of Truth was a fantastic video. Recommend.
Thanks, Vegan Conservative. Yes, and this is from Arco. Do you guys remember Arco? Is it still around? ARCO? And they had that orange thing with the quartered. It was like a circle that was quartered. I loved Arco.
You holler across the holler when you want to go hunting to let the others know what you're doing in case anybody wants to come along. It is done for other messages as well.
Thank you, George.
Make things up.
No, I guess. Hi, Len. How are you? Arco, yep. Good Vegan Conservative remembers Arco. Maybe they're still around in some parts of the country. Yeah, it's like that sentence. Not really, but that buffalo sentence.
Buffalo, 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 yeah.
Yeah, that's like a real sentence.
And technically, the cool thing about that is that the sentence can go on for infinite.
Interesting.
So it's like, but I think the most common, it's like buffalo seven times, and the word buffalo has so many different meanings.
Yeah. 7
different meanings or whatever it is, that you just say buffalo 7 times in a row, and it's a complete grammatically correct sentence.
Yes, it is. Buffalo, 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 buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
You got it.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, John. At night, you put your head on the pillar, too.
The pillar. Get it? The pillow.
Oh, pillar.
The hollow, the holler.
Yeah, that's you with your Long Island accent or Staten Island accent.
My dad says turlet, though.
Turlet?
Yeah, he's from Brooklyn, and he says turlet.
Toilet?
Toilet, but it's turlet.
Turlet.
I noticed that we do things like anything that ends in a AW or like an A, we say it with an R, and anything that ends in an R, we end it with an A. Oh. So like if I'm like, oh yeah, I saw Top Gun.
Oh, saw.
I've kind of lost it, but you can still hear it like when I listen to my parents talk. Like it's terrible English. Yeah. People from Brooklyn and Queens have the worst English.
Well, it's just the way it is.
But then we can turn it off. I'm good at like turning off my slang talk to like when I'm.
And you're good at turning it on too. You know, you go, it's like Hill Street Blues here or something, you know, when you want to turn it on. Well, not really Hill Street Blues because they were probably in Chicago, but somewhere around there. But
that's Boston, John. We get offended when we hear that. When I say you sound like you're from Boston, I'm like,
pack your car. Fighting
words right there.
Okay.
Harvard Yard.
Memberships. Harvard Yard.
Memberships.
Why don't you take that? I have some notes.
Thank you.
The floor is yours.
So basically, we're ready to go with the memberships. We are starting to work on the. Sorry, I'm reading and trying to.
Oh, I'll read.
Time.
Sling that slang, Boston, Hill Street.
Yeah, so the memberships, we're pretty much ready to go. We are working on content. We want to have at least one video a week for a month built before we.
Go ahead.
No, that's what you said. That's what you said to me. We want
I did not say that, everybody.
one video a week. What did I say? A month? A week.
No, yeah, okay, good.
One video a week.
For members.
For members. Well, special video. We're not taking away the other content. You will still get all the same content. If you're not a member, you will still get all of your Sullivan updates. You will still get 2000 watch. You'll get all of that. These are just a couple extra videos we're going to make a month.
For members, yeah.
For members, yeah.
But, go ahead.
What?
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, you get an emoji.
That goes from petty officer 3rd class all the way up to, I think
Master
it was
Chief?
Master Chief, I think.
So I know we've been talking about the membership plan for a little bit now, but we're really, you know, full.
Yeah, we are. We just need to know content.
So that is where we're gonna have you guys come in. If you were to be interested in joining, because I know that all of you are, and you all want to be members, what's the content that we're maybe covering or not covering, but something that you want to see us go a little further on, a topic we haven't touched on yet, that would be something that you would be willing to be like, hey, I'll give these guys a few bucks a month and be able to see these different. I mean, it would be great, and if we can figure it out, the Wi-Fi out on the ships is very difficult to get Wi-Fi, but I would love to do live stuff on the ships, maybe do like a members-only live stream where we're walking through the ships and,
yeah,
you know,
that'd be great.
but we're working, the Wi-Fi of the ships, I mean, the steel, it's hard to even get a cell signal in there, so.
Yeah, so we're looking for ideas, guys right here, we're looking for ideas of content. William, thank you. He also has a question, does the USS Sullivan is an example of what enlisting crew members' locker look like? We do have we do. We have a couple examples. We have, because you know they were just triple cots, right? And then they have the foot lockers that would be like the size of this table or something, and then with the 3 sections. And we show that in some videos as we go through, you know, after she was cleaned. I have an example of some of those. So there are triples, you know, the triple cots, and then the triple foot lockers. Then we've installed some that are the standing lockers, you know, just populate it with some uniforms and things like that. Then now all that stuff's off. But yeah, do I know when they've been converted? Or are those original to 43? I have not been able to tell yet. My only assumption would be they would be original to 43, but I could also see them changing them in 1955, you know, to what we see today. And so they were just like a little, you know, there's one long section with 3, and then you had this little cube.
So William, I do apologize if you said this before, so please forgive me. And when did you serve? So you say I still have all the dungarees and dress canvas from my early days. My stuff is 1976. Were you on the Little Rock? And I apologize again if you've said this before, because I know we have had some people that tune in that have been on the Little Rock.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No, I don't think William was on the Little Rock, but that fits with the Little Rock time. Certainly, the Sullivans were out of service for 11 years by 76.
Sitting in a yard in Philadelphia.
You got it.
We have one of my favorite spaces on the Little Rock is that locker room, right? Remember? With all the
yeah, we were going to do that.
We still haven't done that. That would be
yeah, we were going to do that.
That's going to be a good video.
Okay, do you have a pen or a writing utensil?
I don't.
Because someone said damage control, right?
You want me to make a list?
So again, if you want to become a member, give us your ideas. I mean, that's
Beacon said history of the Naval Park itself, and that's actually something I wanted to run by you, is maybe doing like some educational type videos too that we could put on YouTube.
I'm totally good with that. Yeah, like it's not just me walking around the ships or us walking around the ships. I mean,
I enjoy watching you walk around the ships. All right, damage control.
Yeah, damage control.
Naval Park
history of the park
That could be a really good one.
He was aboard the Hughes and the Lindy McCormick. Thank you. Speaking of footlockers, numbered.
I was aboard the USS Joseph Hughes and the USS Lynn McCormick. Oh, you just said that, didn't you?
No, John, your question about numbered footlockers, no, they were not. Either they weren't stenciled, at least I didn't come across any that were stenciled, anything like that. They were at one time, I believe, but no, by this time, all of that stuff has been removed. Again, I don't know how they were numbered. That's your question. That's probably my question too. I mean, I'm sure you've exhausted cruise books, things like that. I could look. We have 2 cruise books from the Sullivans, which is very disappointing. I would have loved to have had more cruise books, but I've only come across a couple, and those were from the 50s. So there might be a way of zooming in with a magnifying glass into a cruise book, but I just don't think we have an example on board. I could be wrong. Maybe there's one that's stenciled, but it's hard to remember when there's 280 of them around, or some have been removed, of course. So Matt, part of the law firm there. Maybe some videos on the daily life of sailors in different divisions. I love that idea. And again, for members, so these non-members wouldn't be seeing these videos. Wink, wink. Whatever.
So that's really cool. John was saying about the Slater being in the Hellenic Navy. I mean, that's something I would love to talk about too when we have you on, because it's definitely interesting. And I know it's a cannon class, right, as opposed to a Fletcher class destroyer too. So maybe we could talk about the differences between those. So I'm really interested and excited to have John on, because that's got to be a cool story. Just the Slater's history. So
yeah, absolutely. Those DEs were pretty phenomenal. And we have a destroyer escort, exhibit on board that was last updated in 1986. Okay, so one and only update there. Built it, put it in there, left it forever. So there's probably a lot of good stuff that we could talk about with the Slater. Maybe even John come on down, take a look at some of the stuff. Maybe if there's things related to the Slater in there that, we could deaccession to you. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the things also that has been a big topic with the Sullivans was that, our ships have been museum ships for a lot longer than many other vessels. Some of the vessels that are museum ships now were still in service until the 80s or 90s. And the Sullivans to be out in 65.
And then sit in the yard.
And then sitting in the yard with those cover domes and stuff like that was, not every one, of course, not every ship, but many ships that are, were active for 20 years longer. And so they had that maintenance for 20 extra years,
right?
Of having 200, 400, 2,500 guys aboard, for the battleships and stuff like that. So that's one of those things that it factors into, the maintenance and the condition of the hulls and things.
Len,
hi, Len.
If you want, you can definitely give us a call and leave us a message if it's not coming through. You can also email us at info@buffalonavalpark.org and it'll get there. Or also, are we using Brendan's email address for volunteers? Or is it volunteers? I don't know what email address they use.
Yeah, it'd be Brendan.
Yeah, but is it an alternate one that he also takes care of? info@buffalonavalpark.org. Okay. We'll go from there.
Maybe Brendan's watching.
Brendan, if you're on, that would be fantastic.
Because then you can confirm we can share your email address if you're watching. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah, there you go. Put that, or put my email or whatever. That's fine too. Well, it's a lot of fun going back to John Epp and the DESA. So it's the Buffalo DESA organization, Destroyer Escort Sailors Association. We have a couple models. It's mostly photographs. There's some uniforms in there. Models. You know, again, things you'd expect in 1986, right? So. I haven't cataloged anything in there yet. I mean, I still have a lot of cataloging to do in our Vietnam, Korea, 82nd Airborne, Iraq, Afghanistan exhibit. All those things have to be cataloged because I'm just cataloging the loose artifacts, right? Photographs, things like that I just find on board in various boxes. So I haven't even gotten to the exhibits yet to catalog those. But
So William says active duty Navy was voluntold. But I also just heard something.
I've heard that too. Yeah.
At the Encampments, that Navy stands for Never Again Volunteer Yourself.
Yeah, you got it. That's great, Len. Thank you for that. We want to keep you engaged and things like that. So, what else we got here?
Do you have anything else?
I did not. As long as we keep getting ideas, and please leave comments if you're going to watch, if you're watching this at a later time, membership videos, kind of running out of gas here a little bit with the ideas, so we'll continue to do regular videos for everybody, and then maybe 4 a month for members. Love to hear those ideas. Please share them.
Yeah, William, we hope you can come out. That'd be great. Let us know ahead of time also, so we can work some stuff out for you.
William, yeah, you've been very vocal, and I mean that in a very positive way, about your experiences. And yeah, I mean, we're trying to gather up as much experience as we can. And listening to your stories and your expertise. That's what we did with Hugh. Hugh was great. We did a couple training sessions for the crew of about an hour and a half for 2 days in a row. And then he worked with our director of operations. So, I mean, now's the time to say, our staff of 6, we need help. So, and we need to learn as much as we can, as quickly as we can, but process that information in the right way moving forward. And then, we're going to share this with other museum ships, no doubt. I don't know if we'll talk at our HINZA conference, but we can share any packets that any information with the other museum ships of our learning experience here. So Ryan's been very helpful at Battleship New Jersey. He's put out a couple videos in support of us, and we can't thank him and Drakenfell enough. And it's been great. Not out of the woods yet, though, but
we got a ways to go. But we're going there, and we're heading in that direction, which is really at this point we're happy about, because we are heading in that direction, and our leadership too, I think, has really put a lot of this on his shoulders and directed us in that direction. So we can't thank Paul enough for that.
Paul, our president. Yeah, and that was something Ryan and Drakenfell said, like the speed with which you gathered the resources to get this under control as quickly as possible. And that's something that, looking back now, was extremely impressive. Mm-hmm. Within 1 day, we had 4 different organizations.
Coast Guard was here. I mean, Buffalo Fire was here.
Yeah. Cops.
Yeah, and then
security.
Having Miller and TNT and Bidco. I mean, Bidco is here from minute 1.
Yeah. I mean, it was just astounding looking back on it. When you're in it, it's a whirlwind. Every day is a whirlwind. Meetings at 7, noon, 4 every day. So when you're in it. But when looking back now a little bit, the ability to rustle the resources and get going, that's a testament to Commander Bill. That was like the incident commander.
McKinstry? Great guy too.
Yeah, he's a good guy. So, he guided us through this process methodically, slowly. But again, 58 holes have been plugged. 100,000, a million gallons have been pumped out, 40,000 gallons of residual fuel oil, no doubt diesel, no doubt hydraulic, and she's refloated, and we'll continue to get you updates. But all of those incident reports have been completed. No one's really on site anymore. So Bidco's just continuing the work, and I'm down below, things like that. And Steven's getting ready for encampments. And
and we have some youth, family-related events coming up.
I can't believe you want me to be George Washington.
I can't. Well, you agreed to it, so you can. And now everybody knows you agreed to it, so you can't back out. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be so awesome. It's going to be great. Are you practicing your voice? Here's something I always.
I don't know. I'm going to have to listen to people from Virginia.
I was just going to say, I was thinking this the other day. How did, George Washington and Ben Franklin, they were all born in the United States, right? But a lot of their parents are born in Great Britain.
England, yeah.
So, did they have accents?
I bet you they did.
Like a British twang?
Yeah, I would no doubt believe that they did. Is there a Destroyer History type podcast? Well, Drek NFL has kind of cornered the market on that sort of stuff. We have not embraced the podcast. I know, John, at the Slater, you guys have a great podcast. So please, everyone, check that out if you're interested.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of our podcast or video vlog, right? We call it or whatever.
He's the stage crew. He's our AV guy.
At least the stage crew gets to be.
Mr. Bowman, I brought your projector.
So.
Sorry, everybody. Mr. Bowman, I've got your projector for 7th grade, or 7th class.
All right.
Sorry, everybody. Whew. I need some Mountain Holler.
Hang on here. I'm going to go. We got a couple of minutes, guys, but I just want to see. I don't know what the Knight Rider Historians YouTube channel, but if it is what I think it is, I'll collab with them all day. It's probably not what I'm thinking, though. Remember Knight Rider? With David
of course
Hasselhoff?
I remember Knight Rider. I'm 8 years older than you. Yes, you probably don't remember.
Of course I remember. I had a little Knight Rider. Do you remember the car's name?
Kit?
Kit. I had a Kit.
I do not. I think I visited the Knight Rider Historian channel once, but I'm not familiar. Boy, we've got a lot of things going on here, as you said.
So much. We need a C story. Hoist. They slow with R's that were pronounced as A's. The Virginia accent is called the Elizabethan. I cannot talk tonight. Elizabethan. I don't know. Elizabethan lilt. Knight Industries Technology. That is not what I thought it was.
Write down John Epp. A podcast dedicated to Fletchers would be cool.
You know what would be cool?
Write that down.
Okay. Kid had that Cylon thing going on at the front, moving red light.
I'm going to have to go to my dentist and have him half yank out a tooth. He does it enough. Well, yeah. He's saying he's suffered.
He had awful teeth. Actually,
okay, don't say they're horse teeth. They're wooden horse.
They're not wooden. They were not wooden. That's a myth.
They
were actually made of animal and human teeth.
Yeah.
But his teeth were so bad that by the end of his life, he only had one.
Out of 32.
Out of his 32 teeth, he only had one left.
1 out of 32 ain't bad.
I think we should do a weekly podcast with John.
Whoa. John, are you ready? And Ken from History X.
Dude, the four of us?
Oh, boy.
That would be fantastic.
We got to get you guys both here for a visit, and we could do a podcast weekend.
We don't even need it. We could do podcasts.
Yeah, I know. We could do it from a distance, I think, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Scott, hello. On the road again, working, no doubt. Thanks for being here. Hey, Hoist. Wow, you guys, yeah, that was Battlestar Galactica. Whoa.
Ken's in. Now we just need John. Weekly, we do ours once a month. And it's a lot of work.
Thanks, John. But Ken is in, so yeah, maybe once a month would be great.
That would be cool, right? The four of us get together once a month.
Yeah, and then we do one about the Fletchers or something like that. I love those Fletchers.
I love it. I love it.
But I think USS Kidd, also, they might have a podcast as well. So I'll have to check that out. I talked to Tim down there, or what do they do? Shoot. I can't, man, my brain is just, I can't remember. Hi, everybody. Yeah, good, yeah. Late to the party as usual, Scott and Hoist. But anyway,
I
we're
gotta get
getting
an
it.
exit song. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So we're glad we're back. Thank you again for the interactions. We have this 2 switchboard videos. I'm hopeful to get those out Thursday and Friday, or Friday, Saturday, something like that. So I'm actually taking 2 days off. So
That's crazy.
yeah.
You're going to another country.
Yeah. Yes.
How do you feel about that? My wife is where you are going tomorrow. You guys should meet for lunch tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. That's great. Me and Nicole. That's good.
You, Nicole, and Nicole.
Nice. So, Kid Bits. Hoist the Jack. Thank you very much. That's it. I couldn't remember it. I could not remember it.
Ken's just on point tonight. Way to tune in late, Scott. You missed all of the tattoos.
Very good. So yeah, thanks. Yes, we have Hoist. Yes, we have. But yeah. But those videos will be released. Obviously, keep those coming in the comments. Other member videos that you would be interested in seeing. We have a few written down, maybe 2. So keep it going, and thanks so much, everyone.
Bryce, we're more of like a part of Canada than anything. I think our culture, our way of life in Buffalo is very Canadian.
Absolutely, and they're very American as well. So
yeah,
go ahead.
This is for Ken. So we got to give them off a good sign off because it was disappointing last
The battery's about ready to die.
I know my battery's about ready to die.
Bye, everyone.